Brazil's green gold rush. Brazil's illegal gold rush is fueling corruption, violent crime, and deforestation. In this picture here, we can see how over the years, Brazil has transitioned from a nation that championed deforestation to one that fought to protect its precious rainforest, only to face a stark and dark reversal in recent times. This story highlights the critical importance of Brazil's actions in preserving not only its natural wonders, but also the global climate and biodiversity. In 2022, Brazil stands at a crossroads, with President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva's return offering a glimmer of hope in a race against time to save the Amazon. The historical context. In the mid-20th century, Brazil's Amazon rainforest stood as a pristine, largely untouched natural wonder. However, a complex historical context dating back to the 1970s set the stage for the drastic deforestation witnessed in recent years. The 1970s marked a pivotal period in Brazil's history when the country was ruled by a military regime. This regime was driven by a nationalist and economic development agenda, which viewed the Amazon as a vast, untapped resource to fuel Brazil's growth. To achieve their economic goals, the military regime actively encouraged people to settle in the Amazon. The government essentially made an offer. Settlers could claim land by deforesting it. This led to a surge in logging activities and the clearing of vast swaths of the rainforest. It's essential to acknowledge that indigenous communities were already residing in these areas, although their presence was often disregarded or underestimated. The rainforest's transformation also coincided with the global rise in meat consumption. As demand for beef grew worldwide, Brazil increasingly dedicated the cleared land to cattle ranching. The extensive pastures provided an ideal environment for livestock. As time passed, laws aimed at curbing deforestation began to tighten. Nevertheless, as we can see in this video, many landowners, driven by economic interests, continued to clear land illegally, further exacerbating deforestation rates. It's worth noting that landowners were typically allowed to farm on only 20% of their territories, with the remaining 80% required to remain forested. However, enforcement of these rules was often lax. The turning point: President Lula's leadership. In the early 2000s, Brazil witnessed a significant turning point in its battle against deforestation, largely driven by the leadership of President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, commonly known as Lula. This era marked a remarkable shift in the country's approach to preserving the Amazon rainforest. Central to Lula's commitment to the environment was his appointment of Minister Marina Silva. Her passion for the Amazon and her determination to conserve it played a pivotal role in reshaping the nation's policies. Under Lula's administration, there was a massive expansion of protected areas throughout the Amazon. These areas included conservation units and indigenous territories, which proved to be effective in preserving the forest. Indigenous communities in particular have historically demonstrated their commitment to forest conservation and their ability to act as stewards of the land. The Brazilian government during Lula's presidency began implementing stricter laws and regulations governing land use in the Amazon. Landowners in unprotected areas were limited to using only 20% of their territories for farming, preventing unchecked deforestation. A critical component of the success during Lula's tenure was the adoption of supply chain moratoriums. Pressure from civil society, including organizations like Greenpeace, prompted major food companies to commit to not buying soy and beef produced in newly deforested areas of the Amazon. The soy moratorium in particular yielded remarkable results, saving significant portions of the rainforest from destruction. It served as an effective market-driven mechanism to discourage deforestation within supply chains. This period of proactive conservation efforts, spanning from 2004 to 2012, led to an astonishing 80% reduction in deforestation rates within the Amazon. But things were about to get pretty bad. The Dark Downfall, Bolsonaro era. Jair Bolsonaro's presidency brought a sharp shift in priorities. His far-right platform included strong anti-environmental rhetoric and policies aimed at promoting mining and other extractive industries in the Amazon. Bolsonaro openly advocated for exploiting the rainforest's resources, reversing the efforts of previous administrations. During Bolsonaro's administration, environmental enforcement agencies faced significant budget cuts, leading to a reduction in personnel and resources. This weakening of oversight and enforcement created a climate of impunity, where illegal activities such as deforestation and land grabbing proliferated. As environmental protection efforts waned, the illegal destruction of the Amazon became entwined with sophisticated criminal networks involved in drug trafficking, arms smuggling, and money laundering. This complex network of illicit activities made it increasingly challenging to address deforestation as a standalone issue. The consequences of Bolsonaro's policies became evident in the alarming increase in deforestation rates during his tenure. Large swaths of the Amazon were cleared at an unprecedented pace, raising concerns about the viability of the rainforest and its ability to continue absorbing carbon dioxide. By 2020, deforestation rates had surged to the highest levels in over a decade, with the destruction of approximately 10,000 square kilometers of rainforest, an area roughly equivalent to the size of Lebanon. This setback threatened not only Brazil's biodiversity, but also had far-reaching global implications for climate change. The return of President Lula. In a razor-thin victory in 2022, Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva returned to the presidency, offering renewed hope for Brazil's environmental conservation efforts. His election marked a decisive shift from the Bolsonaro era, signaling a commitment to addressing the critical issue of deforestation in the Amazon. One of President Lula's first actions was to address the pressing issue of deforestation. He swiftly sent more law enforcement personnel into the field to confront loggers, land grabbers, and illegal activities in the rainforest. These initial steps demonstrated his determination to reverse the course set during the Bolsonaro years. By January 2023, deforestation rates had already decreased by 61% compared to the same month the previous year. This early progress suggested that the new administration was committed to tackling the issue head-on and enforcing stricter environmental regulations. Prospects for the future. Despite the initial positive indicators, Brazil faces a complex set of challenges and opportunities in its quest to combat deforestation and protect the Amazon. Bolsonaro's administration had systematically dismantled environmental institutions, leaving a void that must be filled by competent and committed professionals. This process will take time and effort. The presence of organized criminal networks involved in deforestation and illicit activities in the Amazon presents a formidable challenge. Tackling these networks will require robust law enforcement efforts. Brazil's powerful agribusiness lobby has significant political influence, and their interests often run counter to environmental conservation. Balancing economic growth with conservation will require skillful negotiation and policymaking. As long as there's high demand for Brazilian agricultural products, such as beef and soy, the pressure to clear land for agriculture will persist. International cooperation and consumer awareness will be crucial in reducing this demand. Brazil's battle against deforestation, often referred to as the Green Gold Rush, is a critical global concern. The historical context from the military regime's exploitation of the Amazon to Lula's remarkable conservation efforts demonstrates the complex interplay of economic interests, politics, and environmental preservation. If you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to smash the bell icon for all our upcoming videos.